it's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. So it is the end of the month, which means that it is time for me to tell you what I read in the month of March and what I thought of all the books that I read. I had a very successful reading month overall. There was also quite a general theme for the month, as you will notice by the books I talk about. I'm not sorry about it. So let's go ahead and check in with my March TBR. So as you can see, I did pretty well. I read everything except for one book on my TBR. So I'm really proud of myself. I read some really chunky books this month too. So the first thing that I read was Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. I had been putting this book off for months now. I wish I wouldn't have because I just... the love is just too real. I would realistically give this book like a 7 out of 5 stars if I could. I can't even coherently give you my opinions on this book because I love it that much. All of those other issues surrounding the book, everybody else's grievances with this book, I didn't feel whatsoever. I didn't have any problems with the characters or the character development or the relationships. This is probably going to be my favorite book in the series overall just because everybody was perfectly where I wanted them to be. Hashtag Rowaylan for life. Actually, it's more of like I'm just shipping Jordan with Rowan. Roden? Hashtag Roden? That sounds like rodent. I've actually done several videos pertaining to this book because it just made me feel that many things. So I will link all of those in a playlist. I talk about my experiences, my feelings, my crackpot theories, just everything you could ever want from one person, opinion-wise, on one book. I have covered all the bases. And I cannot wait for the next book to come out. I'm so excited. That was a really great synopsis and explanation of your feelings, Jordan. Great job. You are eloquent. So while I was reading Throne of Glass, I was also furiously reading the Tales from Shadowhunter Academy novellas by Cassandra Clare because I wanted to get them all read before Lady Midnight came out. I had originally not planned to read these until the bind-up came out, but I had heard so much buzz and so much positive feedback. I caved and I bought them all and I don't regret it whatsoever. I ended up giving the bind-up as a whole 4 out of 5 stars. There were 2 stories that I gave 3 out of 5 stars, 2 that I gave 5 out of 5 stars, and then the rest were 4 out of 5 stars just because I have a really hard time giving novellas 5 out of 5 stars. Like, it has to really wow me. And there were definitely 2 in this collection that I thought were better than the rest, and that were the last 2, Born to Endless Night and Angels Twice Descending. And this bind-up does follow Simon as he attends the Shadowhunter Academy. He has a certain reason for being there, and it's really entertaining. It's all from Simon's point of view, more or less. We do get to see some of our favorite characters from all 4 series. You think it's just about Simon, but no. There is so much other crap packed into this bind-up, and it's all under the guise of just being a simple novella series. But there's just so much more beautiful, awesome gemstones hidden in there. And I did do an entire non-spoiler review for this bind-up, so if you'd like to watch, I will go ahead and leave that link down below where you can check it out, because I really enjoyed these. I definitely would recommend them before going into Lady Midnight. It's not necessary, but if you're a fan of the series, I think you should read them because you're going to appreciate them and you're going to love them as much as pretty much every other fan of the series who's read them. I don't hear anybody saying that they didn't enjoy them. So after I finished Throne of Glass, it was extremely probable that I was going to fall into another manic, depressive reading slump state that I had fallen into upon finishing Heir of Fire. And the only thing that saved me from falling into a reading slump is that I finished it the day before my most anticipated book of the year came out. I mean, obviously that was Lady Midnight. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, obviously, because it was freaking amazing. So in this book, we are following 2 parabatai, Emma and Julian, and Emma's parents were murdered 5 years previously to the start of the novel in a very obscure way, and she's trying to figure out what was the reason behind their murder exactly, and from there a whole lot of other crazy crap happens. This does take place 5 years after the finish of City of Heavenly Fire. I just loved this book. It was so much fun to start with a protagonist who has been a Shadowhunter her whole life. She already has a parabatai, she's already established in this universe, and these characters are already going. So we're not having to rediscover this whole secret society. We're already in it, and I loved it. And we do see some of the other characters from the other series come into play, and it's wonderful and amazing, and I loved it so much. I hesitantly want to say that you could technically go into this without reading any of Cassandra Clare's other stories. It is a brand new story. It is a brand new conflict, a brand new problem. We have a new setting and new characters, but you're going to be missing out on a lot of information. You're not going to be confused whatsoever, but there are certain references and nuances and storylines that are explained in the other books that come into play here. I don't know how to explain this. Yes, you can read this without reading any of her other series. Cassandra Clare has said that on her Twitter. You're going to be missing out on a lot of stuff if you don't read the other series. However, maybe the other ones just don't interest you, and this one sincerely does, and you really want to read this. I would say just read it. There's plenty of places online where you can look up anything that you're confused about. I love her series so much that I would tell you to read them anyway, though. So after finishing that book, I didn't want to do anything else but read about Shadowhunters, so I solved that problem by rereading City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, which is the second book in the Mortal Instruments series. I didn't get to this in February, so I read it this month. This was the perfect way to deal with the post-Lady Midnight feelings, because I just wanted to live and breathe everything Shadowhunter. What better way than go back and read all the Shadowhunter books? It was an interesting reading experience because I felt like I was reading in a fog. A very, very distant memory of what actually happened in this book. I remember it's the Simon plotline. That's like the biggest plotline of the story. But everything with Valentine, I totally forgot happened. So I was reading this and I was like, oh, I kind of remember that, but not really. But it's starting to come to surface. I really did enjoy this. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Obviously. Still wanted to live in Shadowhunter land, so that's what I did, is I read City of Glass 2 by Cassandra Clare. Perfect way to deal with post-Lady Midnight slump syndrome. It's just read all of her other books. You know, you're still reading, so it's not like a true slump. This is the third book in the Mortal Instruments series. I really enjoyed this installment. We meet some key critical characters that will play out in the rest of the series. We also spend most of our time in Idris in this book, and it's just very magical feeling and otherworldly. Again, couldn't really remember the exact details, so because I had read these so many years ago, I read these in 2012, I was almost experiencing it for the first time because so much of it is muddled in my brain. I'm really enjoying rereading these books. It's just making me so happy, as you can tell. I had an extremely just Shadowhunter everywhere month. I also rewatched the first 10 episodes of Shadowhunters. I watched the movie about 3 or 4 times. I did not know how to handle the post-Lady Midnight feels. So these are 4 of the books that I got to in March. I wonder what my page count was for this month. I probably read my favorite book and second favorite book of the year. I would love to know what you read this month. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you very soon. Bye! Get started. Get moving and get grooving. Get going. Get started. We're moving and we're grooving. So I'm really, what's hitting my butt? Oh, not the draft's over. Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Sarah. No. Did you see that spit just catapult out of my mouth? I hope not, because that was gross. And why does my hair look so janky? Nah, this reading wrap up, I think, is like the worst one I've ever done. I didn't say anything useful. None of the words that came out of my mouth were like useful in any way.